Everybody say, say, how can I express my gratitude for all the many things you've done for me? Words are not enough to say thank you. So Lord, you are my everything. You're my everything. How can I express my gratitude? How can I express my gratitude for all the many things, you've Father, you've done for me, yeah. Words are not enough to say thank you. So Lord, you are, you're my everything. See, I call you Lord, my provider. I call you Eunice. You are my battle. I call you Rapha. Hey. You are my healer. Say, Lord, you are. You're my everything. I call you Jireh. Lord, my provider. I call you Eunice. You are my battle. I call you Rapha. You are my healer. Say, Lord, you are. You're my everything. Are you ready, everybody? All right, listen. Voy a mi gran cobra. What to say? I can breathe without you, say.
Good morning and good afternoon, good evening, depending wherever you are watching me from. Mema obi biara ankrankre bia akwaba ebe yadwumedie so. Ene nso otwede ampo adaroma enijemu arehumu wache ye nkwa, wache ye ahoɔden, wache ye nhyira bibie mu se ene nso due yemfa adwumedie emfa mbremo. Media ne manyeti, megire se baby biara wo ho ye. I welcome you to the month of September. And then the 5th of September, nature say, the 9th month, we share yen calendar, Bruni dia mayen on emum. So we share titi diani dia, we be see, de a sept, so, intino, yanko ho. Minianum enen so yenya adagye say yedi edwumedi a every day bia Friday bia yeto anamo ede bremo no enen so yenya saa ahode no ede ba na megye di se baby biara wo no obehwe na wato nsa afre onua bi adofo bi se emre na so ye ba be camera se me abedi mra ye ba be ye mra nsem na yemfa ntoto ye ho emfa nto anamo na saa education se ba saa na dodo na enya ho emfa so enti no se uhu se ya bapa Mr. ni die mu unko a enche mfa bomode ana share among friends, go to the Facebook o click like na afi o call YouTube nso a na wa share o call link no so na wa share copy it na ko share wo WhatsApp group o Twitter group o ba bia o join ni social media bia no bomode ana ko share wo se ne be ya obi benya ho emfa so emre ne ko intimema mikasa enye tenten ene so adaroma otwede ampon wache ene na yen sister penny yen nuaba penny ene nso eno no yen bedi sa adwumedie yi ya yenim ema no emransam de a BWF Solicitors untumi yi ya bom abaswa to the extent say UK abonte ha no ye ka BWF Solicitors or lawyers no ɔmo de mu fia bibia how etete wo e wo mmransɛm mu odi kɔdare ɔmo a enkosi ewieye no na wenya wasomdwe na kyerɛ wenya the answers that you are looking for. So join us this morning na frɛ ɔdɔfoɔ bi sɛ mmere na so yɛba bɛdi mmaransɛm BWF Solicitors aba wan na meka ne ho asɛm ɛyɛ yɛ maame lawyer Eunice meto nsa frɛ no na ɔno nso ɛmfa nkyɛn mu ohwam dedɛɛdɛ ɛma etiefoɔ na ahwɛfoɔ na afei sɛ update bi etwa ne ho aba ɔmfa nto dwama na ansa yakɔyɛ main platform ne so nti mesama mo nyinaa akɔ aba biom mo amaba platform ne so nyinaa medical adamase na mato nhyira nso egu mo so na monkɔ so anhyɛ na momfrɛfrɛ adɔfoɔ na mo bɛka yɛ ho nti Eunice mema wakɔ aba ɛba dwumadie so yee Eunice mente wonka o and seni we na amute kakra nti no so oye ne ye a obesan aba BWF Solicitors wo hwehwe mo kira kwan a omo wo 4th floor Anna House 214 to 218 Tottenham High Road ne so wo hemfa wo Seven Sisters oba UK abonti anase London abonti na ka se wo Seven Sisters a enya yira kwan kra wo London he ya omo postcode a se wo drive anase wo pese utrom letter kra na na kyerɛ sɛ N15 4NP na kyerɛ sɛ N15 4NP na ayembia na baabi a wowɔ no wo ho akyerɛw bi anaasɛ wo pɛ sɛ wo contact mo eniso yi a na kyerɛ sɛ ato emergency a omo de omo so mo 24/7 from 077 1276 1884 from was so ahokyerɛ bi a wo baabi biara wo no frɛ saa number no na sɛ yɛ mmaransɛm nko ade a megye di sɛ ɛnkɔ awieyɛ no na wo ho asane ho anaasɛ wobɛtumi afrɛ office number no ɛyɛ 0208493740 wofrɛ na wo book appointment a na wakɔ akɔhu ɔmo adesua bi ɛda wo so ɛwɔ mmaransɛm mu ɔmbɛtumi ɛdi abo nti Eunice mesama wakɔ aba
Rejoso patrol to menka.
mete wo nka paa mete wo nka
Yeah, Diamiase. And then you are looking very pink and lovely. I hope it's say ever cause the whole day.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yo,
Diamiase. Yeah,
nti mede akwanya ne
Diamiase.
ma na fa nkyia ne ma tiefo na hwefo na afei yɛmfa adwumadi no ɛnto aso mfiri ha
Patrio, but has to be brave. Me try it here for near for more motion Facebook so and answer YouTube so yeah Diamiase send the day where yeah come on sana monso mudne e day dwumadi. I hope say am yadom obia ho ye and there being the first week in September. I feel enjoyable. By the time you're better na you December muna yeah sign another year mu but yeah
saa
Diamiase I yeah, Diamond Sepan say on a September, the ninth month of the year. I know say Nkolano so come back to school and say na ama yeah so yeah Jojo kakra because will fear dear and send me brave but
yɛbiebie fridge saa na obu efu yɛbia ne yɛgyina mu yɛgyina mu sɛ obisa deɛ na mohwehwɛ a ogyina mu onim nea ɔhwehwɛ no ase wɔbie fridge na ogyina mu sana fiti ɛno a ɛkɔ ne deɛ at least fridge no ɔmo ho bɛtɔ ɔmo
yeah
kakra Eunice yo
yeah
yɛbɛda
yeah
ase
yeah
saa na ɛteɛ yɛbɛda ase September the month no
um
mmerɛ no ɛkɔ aka just about a couple of months na the year 2025 na asa akɔ na ewieɛ na when we get to this time na yɛ a na yɛpɛ sɛ yɛhu sɛ yɛhyɛ aseɛ no ɛdeɛn na ɛtumi achieve so far up to the ninth month na yɛkɔ yɛ nim ba ne nyinaa mu no mmara nsɛm nti ɛna ɛwɔ ha nti no de update na yɛbɛtumi anya ansa na yɛakɔ yɛ main topic ne so
okay. It's a saying yeah, every week be just a bit of updates in terms of immigration in Brano. Um during the week, yeah, men kind of say Home Secretary Yvette Cooper raised statements be our parliament on Monday say after there and conform refugee applications no they will make sure someone best suspended on more family reunion applications no
from now up to when make changes to the immigration rules. Usually, say obi ba hanom on a refugee status or betumi ayɛ application ama n'ebusuafoɔ na yɛre ne mba n'ebusuafoɔ abɛjoin no ɛwɔ UK kurom ha. But when we say it is putting a lot of pressure on the housing system and also the benefits of support system, because most of the time over who are almost they receive refugee status in they are not allowed to work unless they apply to start working. Into most of the time in comfort ways the almost our refugee status now, they are also relying on the housing system, they are relying on the benefit system, and all of the resources that you can say will be available to everybody who has settled status and that's British citizenship. They will also be allowed to have all of those resources. And when Humpa say it is having a lot of pressure, especially to do with housing system, because most times they will have to put them in temporary accommodations such as bed and breakfast accommodations. And see that also costs a lot of money because those are private housing and also hotels. And also sika free system no mu very quickly into they are putting a stop to those family reunion applications, saying introducing new rules for to also make applications under for instance appendix FM into when you settle status as a refugee now with me akɔfa wo yere wo kunu wo mba abɛka ho ɛwɔ kurom ha rather than doing it whilst you have your refugee status, because someone who say it is better say ɔmo bɛba under the appendix FM route rather than say as soon as somebody's refugee status no ebema no na nyinaa ba na putting more pressure on the public resources. And see that is just one thing briefly I'm say maybe a whole. But also secondly when it comes to e-visa, e-visa, I think that people are still confused as to what it is. It is like your online immigration status. And see, so we definitely you would have done a share code. Into the e-visa is basically your electronic immigration status. Ɛkyerɛ wasetena na wowɔ ɛwɔ kurom ha. Nti the woyɛ adwuma a na ɔmo bisa for share code definitely the way I wobɛ yɛ na wonya share code ama w'adwumamfoɔ no ɛno ɛna e-visa no. Nti sɛ wotu kwan a that is what they want to see when you are coming back. Wotu kwan akɔ kurom a ɛho hia. But wo san aba back a ɛno na ɔmo hwɛ a ɔmo de we yɛbɛka no sɛ yɛbɛbie gate ama wo sɛ bɛbra kurom ha. Nti your e-visa anaasɛ wo electronic immigration status no ɛyɛ biribi a ɛkyerɛ sɛ wasetena ɛyɛ leave to remain anaasɛ wasetena no ɛyɛ indefinite anaasɛ wasetena no ɛyɛ leave to enter ɛwɔ kurom ha. Nti once you are able to get a share code no, you have an e-visa that you are able to show say wasetena wɔ kurom ha or sign aba back to a kurom ha. Nti there shouldn't be any confusion about it. This is just something brief and comfort. That's will be sad. I just wanted to put out there so that at least comfort who say not any thing that is difficult. Yeah.
Difficult. You yeah na hona maybe suggest one quick question. Obi say to me who ni status or call or putting in residential resident ne credentials now or who ni status pepe. But on to me why on to me generate share code but say ordinary details name company now I see company they are able to generate the share code. I don't know how that way company bet to me generate share code on your behalf. Is it possible that way? And I said, one person I say to me generate it.
Usually when I say to me generating into for instance, what they share with you was say, oh, my immigration status ninia. They know where to go to get the share code. Into ebia wona
Okay.
wonim say etemimia way so na medenya share code, but or the more they're able to know where to go to get the share code
Get the
into
share
ebia
code.
or yes sure saying ya over to me enya share code and
Why be pen so but I feel so why 3 times obey no on to me generate. However, no the status ni the say ni way ni be expire I think 2026 somewhere there. Interma why worried pa. Well, and then you to me who say obey status no now the more the companies they will know where to go and generate it. That's fine. I will ask him now on keep on trying mbia say on the internet na enye papa na say whatever it could be one thing or the other Lioness medasi etiefo na ahwefo say afe no wa join legal hour with BWF Solicitors for idwumedie na yeguso a ye di no every Friday bia na ye di saa akwanya eye legal kan mremo insem akyerɛkyerɛ no de bremo se na ebe ya ubenya odie na wo so de ato anamon mama abaso nyina me nua batili medinchi akese de ma Kofi Nat Margaret Du Abigail Osei Michael Ba Rich Mami Tando Bernard Owusu Ejekum abina ohiniwa asantewa papa bi pineapple pizzo facha me why mo nyina mo Eunice J good morning everyone Odinchi Akesie, Sansuna NS, Yakane NST na Kakari, nso si good morning, Mejosu, Adjubro, me mama, papa bi, Auntie Helena, Osi, good morning, Lady Manuti, and Lawyer Eunice for your relentless love for your community. Thank you for the free legal hour. God bless you daily. Oh, nhyira deɛ obi to nhyira ma wanɔpa a wɔ ho yee ɛte sɛ woyale malaria na yama wo kwini no kyɛ sɛ waboa wo yie nti antele ne na wo nso nyame nhyira wo yɛbɛkɔ yɛmmere so mo a maba so no mɛbɔ mo din nyinaa at the right time yɛnkɔ yɛmmere ne kɔ ɛnɛ no yɛba bɛka deɛ ho nsɛm yɛbɛhwɛ one or two things about this particular topic and they say you see when is it possible to apply solely on my human right if I have compelling and compassionate circumstances. Nature says, sir, adie we human right application ni bi ani. Menim say human right application e bi ti say ne ya na ekọ we wabedi mfie bebre e wo krom ha na wedum pempen so bi ti say 20 years route no so now person yes have human right application no ye wo other ones now when you see e behwe solely no say sir o compelling and compassionate circumstances bia na eno no lawyer is ba be mu but kakra metumi aka edi pagya saa topic na ma lawyer is ne say etore bia ye wo krom ha nsɛmsɛm bebre ɛha dodo na but ye nim say saa asɛm kro na ɛha yen no menka say ye wo de say asɛm na ɛha menka say saa tibia na wo mu no ɛye wo de say wo mu na mmom say abetu pofre mu ana say abawa brabo mu one way or the other untumi nya ho hwe a menua endie bobo embia na saa dekode no wobetumi agina so na wonso de nya asetena ewa ha saa na me pa kire menka say wankasa kɔ na kɔ di wo ho ewu kɔ ye wo ho bɔne kɔ ye wo ho bibi na yɛn begina so da bi. There are so many things. Me for example, beauty says domestic violence and crofo yirenum any omukunum etumi bo omo anasa omo yiremu tumi bo omo na afei wa ye bibia wo ho na ade na akoye bibi saa to a utumi gina so ewo mre bebi amra wo no status preko a wo no ubetumi gina bibi saa na wo de akowenim eno bi na America nti na ye ba behwe se ayembia compelling and compassionate now when it comes to compassion let's just say bibi potin ewo abrabo mu a if you case mo hwa obe say me use the word say mbia eya areho me use keke on this ground say adekodi na ewo abrabo mu no eya areho nti ebeka obi akoma na omfanye bibi emfa ma eno ho asem na America ba lawyer de ono ba be cheche mu o lawyer mremu oba be cheche wo mremu me de no me ka no mia ma adwen so ade no teacher ho adwen but lawyer eba be cheche mu enti no ye be so na maybe say lawyer Eunice sir when it's possible to apply solely me can solely and let's say no adekodi na wo apply on human right no say o was compelling and compassionate circumstances na yɛba bɛhwɛ na yɛasan hwɛ what type of circumstances might fall into this particular area no anaasɛ deɛ important na ɛyɛ compelling a ɛbɛtumi yɛba bɛhwɛ ne nyinaa na afei si yɛhwɛ no nso a ne yɛahwɛ kwan a wobɛtumi afa so na wo nso wode akɔ w'anim ɛwɔ wo status a wowɔ ɛwɔ UK ha meka status a megye di sɛ mo nyinaa motim aseɛ nti Lawyer Eunice mɛsan ato nsa de afrɛ wo biom na mebisa wo ayɛm bia sɛ mewɔ kurom ha na biribi saa ɛwɔ m'abrabɔ mu a mɛdɛn when da bɛn na ɛyɛ possible da bɛn na ɛka when de a mmerɛ bɛn anaa da bɛn anaasɛ abere bɛn mu na mɛtumi gyina so paa de apply for human rights application na ɔmo nso ɔmo de saa compelling and compassionate circumstance no ɔmo de aka ho na ɔmo de ama me tibia ɛwɔ kurom a nti wadaroma mɛgya ama na wama yɛ nkyerɛkyerɛ no question bi pɔpi apa mɛbisa wo na afei akɔ yɛ nim wadaroma patwɔ mɛgya ama
That's the bebree ma yɛti. I think say intro no sa odiama kama. And I also wanted to mention the fact that when it comes to these applications, because a very, very niche area, one time no, it is always important say so your application be stay there. Ube legal advice. Over the past week, I've had about three decisions where nkurɔfoɔ aba a wɔn aka sɛ oh my application way, and unfortunately ɔmo refuse a ɔmo ɛma right of appeal outside the UK. It means that ɔmo certify ɔmo decision no to say that there's no claim or there's no grounds for the claim a ɔmo making no. Nti once it has been certified under Section 94 of the Nationality and Immigration and Asylum Act, no, it means that you can only appeal outside of the UK. It makes it very, very difficult since I nimpa so able to me ejina so I appeal on those grounds. So when you are making such an application, men can say, oh, wait dear, may try me luck, my main yakeke. Nti me ya ebia na tom ye de bema me. Unfortunately, no, it is not the case. Nti you need to have obia oye mbrenim for onim dia oye, because some of the time there will be someone will say, oh, minya obi or say oye lawyer and oye application the mame, and I say nya kasa na me application no say me who say bibisa wo ho ntimi so me application and I am bebre so egu TikTok any other social media pages so nti one hwe ya wo dwen say oh the anipa na ka no no cresa ntimi so ma me koye bi. It is not always the case. It is always best so person application will Chrome, whether it is an online application as a paper application, basically legal advice and know how best to go about it. And sana wait to an amo say, oh, mami application we me pa. Inti as the topic rightly says, how when should you be able to make an application solely on your human rights? Say share European Convention of Human Rights producer pacho European Convention of Human Rights na what under the EU. Into when we come to our human rights are very, 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 very important. Into one of the ways that we have incorporated this European Convention of Human Rights into our law is by the Human Rights Act of 1998. But we have two main human rights that we usually use, and no, under Article 3 and Article 8. Into say share specifically Article 3 of the European Convention of Human Rights. It says something that is seen to be an absolute right. And I say, Yankan say, it is something that cannot be taken away from you. It is say, scroll down to Article 3 of the European Convention of Human Rights. Yes. Eka say, no one shall be subjected to torture or to inhumane or degrading treatment or punishment. Inti, Eka say, obiara anywhere say oko mean who say America torture or trimu, but say
Oya otibie
aha
Oh
or
yeah,
yeah
or say torture there you are in yeah or yeah yeah like I mean it's okay.
yeah it's sa or yeah to be no and this obia fasa de nim ah yan kan say standing pano the nimbeku ase a why to say onye nimpampo into
Mm.
degrading treatment and answer punishment any hose saa nipa no ɛsɛ ɔkɔ saa ɛyaw no it's very important to know say this right as it is seen as an absolute right. There is no country in this world who is a signatory to this European Convention of Human Rights. I always say I um we have certain laws to limit this right. It is an absolute right, um, true and final. It is share the fact say Brano under the Human Rights Act of 1998 says that the laws should obviously be compatible with the rights that we also have now. Then it means that, of course, we as the UK have also made it known that no persons shall also undergo torture na eka ɛho asɛm no under Article 3. Now, yɛhwɛ Article 8 no is a bit different from Article 3. Under Article 8 of the European Convention of Human Rights, yes, it says right to respect for private and family life. And so everyone has the right to respect for his private and family life, his home, and his correspondence. Number 2, there shall be no interference by a public authority with the exercise of this right except such as is in accordance with the law and is necessary in a democratic society in the interest of national security, national or public safety, or economic well being of the country, for the prevention of disorder or crime, and for the protection of health or morals, or for the protection of the rights and freedoms of others. Into number 2, no, Emma who said it is not an absolute right, it is a limited right because a chronoso no, they may have laws that may limit it if they feel say will right no will be an interference with public security and I say public safety and I say the economic well-being of the country, then they can limit those rights because they may have laws which will prevent such people from disrupting or more national security and as the public safety and as the economic well-being. And so that is the only time the country and as a chrono so able to me unlimited our rights. But even that no UK Chrome Hanum dear, they make sure that as much as possible no they give respect to private and family life. Into so we share yeah immigration rules no crampona, they have immigration rules to do with those who want to apply for leave to remain based on almost family life, and I said leave to remain based on almost private life. Into rules no ɛwɔ hɔ a wobɛtumi I rely on when you're making those applications. When it comes to Article 3 applications, they may not necessarily come under immigration rules. So ebia saa nipa no eko in social tibia bi no, it could be due to the fact that ebia omo wo yare bi a terminal illness. Inti saa nipa no immigration rules no ema ho kwan say on those basis no obetumi aye application no on the medical grounds say ebia wa yare na wo no a terminal illness ebia unni ayaresa bia na say unni sika na wo de betumi ahwe ho wo kro no so inti important say obeye wo treatment na obefa wo medications e wo UK krom and so omo hwe we na omo fa asetna no emma. But most of the time, most of these Article 3 cases no do not necessarily fall under immigration rules. Inti then them knowing this no governments introduce so human rights claim applications solely on its own. Inti whereas you have like let's say appendix FM I dealing with private and family applications no we don't have any particular appendix that deals with Article 3 claims. But when it comes to the fact that ABA claims be outside of the rules, no, the government introduced form biomo friend FLR HRO. So those are mainly to do with conform person making applications outside of your immigration rules, no. Into say a ban say ABA we uko in social beam ukro na we free so no baby a we free eba no and tokwa esi ho ena akoye to say because of baby a we free no intin nkrofo no mo ehonom no eko ena omo kunkun nimpa ena wo de wenya ekwan a wo de ba ekrom ha oba ye no ebia man shada nsike asylum because unya nkrata na wo de baaye but senya enyema ekono enya ade a obetumi asan wechi akobag so obhwe the mami use example of like northern part of Ghana where there are certain sects and I say tribes are almost because of the fact say almost believe it say asase no mote so no omo dia enye saa nkrofo we dia nti omo de omo be ye dia so omo ye na omo eyi nkrofo na omo ni se omo wo ho no efiri ho no. It is unfortunate, but that is also one reason that saa nipa no ontumi ensan go back to a krona ofri so eba no because of nsem na esise ne ntokwa ne nkrofo mu kunkun no nti akoba ne say there's no way a omo betumi asan go back to omo krom na omo free no. That is an example of inhumane and degrading treatment person saa nimpa no obefim because se osan ko back a unim se saa nimpa we de ebia na saa nkrofo no mo kidnapping nkrofo no ebetumi akọ kidnapping no anaso mo betumi eku na ja no ho saa nti unim se say ne kodia ende na one more who say this is the reason the nti a mentumi ensan ko back to me kroma me free no. And it's very important to note say when it comes to these applications no you are making them solely on your human rights. It's not because ABR you have something to rely on under the immigration rules. Say producer over to me aboame with guidance no for applications for compelling and compassionate circumstances that this is a guidance that was just updated last month 5th of August 2025 into say scroll it down to I think say by page 4 of the guidance into page 5 into on page 5, it talks about the fact that from the 1st of April 2003 to the 9th of July 2012, the majority of applications which fell outside of the immigration rules in the UK were considered within discretionary leave criteria, which, along with humanitarian protection, replaced exceptional leave to enter or remain. This included cases on family, private life, medical, and other European Convention on Human Rights ground. On the 9th of July 2012 and the 10th of August 2017, legislation was changed to bring the majority of family and private life cases under Part 7 of Paragraph 276 and Appendix FM of the Immigration Rules. In relation to family and private life cases, there will be a consideration of any exceptional circumstances that apply. For family life cases, this is built into Appendix FM of the Immigration Rules. And for private life cases, this is consideration outside of the Immigration Rules. In all family and private life cases, the decision maker will consider whether the immigration rules are otherwise met, and if not, will go on to consider whether there are exceptional circumstances which will render refusal a breach of the European Convention of Human Rights, Article 8, because it would result in unjustifiably harsh consequences for the applicant or their family. Each application is considered on its own merits and on a case.
I am say voice ne call. Eunice audio no go down a bit. Hello, Abba back.
Hello, Timinka.
Yeah, I feel the Abba back here. Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. Each application is considered on its merits and on a case-by-case basis, taking into account the individual circumstances. So, in such cases, they are supposed to look at family, life, partner, and parents, and exceptional circumstances cases guidance. No, into say not all leave outside the rules is granted for the same reason, and discretion is applied in different ways depending on the circumstances of the claim and the applicant's circumstances. And so this guidance helps decision makers specifically when considering leave outside the rules on compelling and compassionate grounds. It's as it is saying, is that when it comes to applications for family life, private life, medical grounds, and application way and now because your immigration rules not cover those applications based on whether you have a family here or whether you have private life or whether you are seeking exceptional circumstances based on medical grounds. And your asylum applications so ɛwɔ hɔ. So if it is not covered by the immigration rules there, that is when you will make an application for leave outside of the immigration rules based on compelling and compassionate grounds. I think so you call it page 7. It's mentioned something about the fact that when you are making such applications, they have to consider it on a case by case basis in regards to their nipakono epese or claim. Just briefly, when we look at page 7, yeah. So yes, into it talks about the fact that if we look at furthermore, yes, into say furthermore, leave outside the rules is mostly appropriately granted where specific events or difficulties can only be mitigated by presence or specific actions taken in the UK. If the difficult circumstances raised can be mitigated in the country they would be returning to, a country in which they could reasonably seek permission to enter or stay, or a country in which they already have permission to enter or stay, then it could be justifiable to provide this as a basis for refusing the grant of leave outside the rules. And see, they are saying, say, ɛba ne sɛ ɛyɛ sɛ ɔmohwɛ the fact sɛ ɔmobɛma wo saa asetena no a, ɛyɛ sɛ ɔmohwɛ specific events anaasɛ ɛhaw bi a ɛwɔ hɔ a ɛbɛma wo a wo se wontumi ɛnsa nkɔ back no, ɛyɛ sɛ ɔmohwɛ deɛ nti a wontumi nkɔ ɛne deɛ a UK aban no nso ɛbɛtumi ayɛ afa ho. Into example now me my in regards to certain tribes within the north of Ghana who have constant arguments going on because of assassin, and to them no so assassin modia and muaba yen mwatna over hundreds of years no moon two free assassin also. Bibi Sano, of course, you can raise that as an issue because it is ongoing. Omo kunkun nimpa, and they don't care who else they get. Into say banesa, it means say as much as possible. No, ne say omo tumi efri honoma, omo sound enko back. Into in such a scenario, once you are able to provide evidence, say ebia news no aka ho asɛm anaasɛ newspapers no aka ho asɛm sɛ sei ne sei ɛna esi wɔ hɔ na ebia wokɔ school wɔ hɔnom anaasɛ woyɛ adwuma wɔ hɔnom, but because of nneɛma na esisi ne nti na ɛsɛ wotu efiri hɔnom a wonya wo visa wode aba kurom ha and wontumi ɛnsa nkɔ back nti based on these compelling and compassionate circumstances no wopɛ sɛ aban no ɛma wo nkrataa a wode bɛtumi atena kurom ha because sɛ yɛhwɛ saa article 3 definition or anaasɛ right na to go through torture anaasɛ inhumane and degrading treatment no deɛ it is an absolute no. Ɛnni kwan sɛ obi biara ɛbɛfa saa amanneɛ no mu. Nti based on that, they will consider if your application meets the requirements outside of the immigration rules. Nti when it comes to applications like this, it's not just saying say ebia me free ebia Ghana me asase no so a mete so no ebia na obi aka sɛ me free asase no so a me hu ade a ɔde bɛyɛ me. That is not what they are talking about. They are looking for concrete evidence to show say this is what is happening. Omo kunkun nkrɔfoɔ, omo hye nipa, omo hye nkrɔfoɔ ɛdan. This is something that is actually taking place, and they know say it can be verified into if they have newspaper articles and also if they have news stations talking about it, they know say this information no can be verified as true. Yanka say obi de nano can be keke because there is evidence to provide them to them to show say this is what is actually going on ground. And when ya akwenya ode aba krom ha we free honom nti enye ade a ubetumi asan call back to baby na wote no. And what I like about UK
Say voice no esa
nti
echo nti no aha okay asamba. Thank you. Mhm.
yes, yes,
I think said there is a breakup in the voice. Inti ente wonka, line is mente wonka. The sound is down, Eunice. Say na mente wonka. Producer mpacho obetumi technical team no obetumi ahwe ama yen kakra na eya na atiko nti bia na connection baabi ɛnto yie a na yɛde atoto yie ɛde ama yɛn. Nti tiefoɔ na
Sorry.
hwɛfoɔ one journey a yes, yɛka about when it's possible to apply solely on my human rights application if I have compelling and compassionate circumstances. Nti Eunice ɛka ɔde fi refugee wakyerɛkyerɛ mu saa abedu na aka kakra na mebisa ne nsɛm kakra bi kwan a mɛfa so a mɛyɛ such application ne dɛn na mehia na mede ayɛ such application but ɔgu so a ɔkyerɛkyerɛ mu ne baabi a saa mmara no efi abedu baabi a wedu no. Nti Eunice sɛ wo voice no mic na asan yɛ yie a mɛma wo ho kwan na ɔmfa ne aka no ɛntoa so na afei membisa nsɛm mmienu wei na yɛmfa mbie ma etiefoɔ nso na ɔmo nso ɔmo mbrɛ mu wadaroma.
Me da se bebree ma yɛ. Nti na meka sɛ deɛ mepɛ about ekurom ha ɛyɛ sɛ wowɔ nkɔlaa ɛka wo ho nti ebia na woba no wode wo mma no nso ɛbaeɛ nti akɔba ne sɛ nkɔlaa no nso there's no way a ɔmo nso ɔmo betumi efiri ekurom ha. If that is the case, dear, then they also have to look at Section 55 of the Borders and Citizens Act, to look at the fact that in Kolano so are of paramount interest. Nti sɛ ɛba ne sɛ ɔmohwɛ application no mu a sɛ ɔmotumi consider nkɔlaa no nso, and the fact sɛ nkɔlaa no under the age of 18 a ɔmo ne ɔmo abofo aba a ebia ɔmo nso saa no nso their lives are in danger and they could also face inhumane treatment ne nti sɛ ɔmotumi hwɛ nkɔlaa no nso titiri na ɔmoyɛ deɛ ɛyɛ sɛ ɔmoyɛ ɛfa nkɔlaa no nso. Nti one of the things that I like about the fact say wowɔ nkɔlaa nso a they are able to pay attention to the interest of nkɔlaa no and they hold it as very important, and I said they see it to be paramount because it needs nkɔlaa nso ɛfa amanneɛ no mu saa ebia ɔmo nso ɔmo life, and I said ɔmo saying a ɔmo life ne teɛ no ɛbɛyɛ obviously degraded in any shape or form. It is very very important say so we applications na wowɔ nkɔlaa ɛka ho a anaasɛ akɔlaa ɛka ho a then you make them aware say this is the situation and you also have a child who you are living with who also face such horrendous treatments say mosan de ne kɔ back anaasɛ mfiri ekurom ha and they ɛbɛyɛ very difficult say mo nso mobɛnya asetena ɛwɔ baabi a mowɔkɔ no because your lives are likely to be in danger sɛ mosan kɔ back a. That is to do with nkɔlaa no nso. And when you look specifically at these applications, to say America no, they are not under the immigration rules, but they would look at cases on a case by case basis to find out say idea nanka wobɛtumi ayɛ application no under immigration rules na say any idea nanka wobɛtumi ayɛ application no under the immigration rules na ɔmo hu sɛ ampa deɛ wofa mu no anaasɛ baabi a wofiri ɛreba no there are compelling and compassionate circumstances which make it difficult to refuse your application dear, and then na ɛsɛ ɔmo hwɛ na ɔmo ɛde ma wo. But sɛ ɔmo hwɛ wo application ebia waka sɛ there are compelling and compassionate circumstances. Ɔmo bisa sɛ adɛn nti na wontumi nkɔ back a wo say oh ebia meba no me kunu ɛrekɔ bank ɛna ebia ɔmo ehuu sɛ okita sika ɔmo ahwɛ sekan akɔ ne ho ɛna ɔmo kuu no nti ɛno nti mentumi ɛnsan come back to me kurom. Ɛno deɛ yɛntumi nka ne saa because ɔmo nim sɛ ekuro biara so ɛwɔ legal system anaasɛ police enforcement. Inti se bibi says yeah, except police for no deal with it. And if, for instance, police for no nipa krona oye no na ebia ujidi said nipa krona oye no is after your life there, and then you have to show evidence. Nipa krona message you, nipa krona a text you, nipa krona then na ode aye wa odrin say your life is also in danger, because in every society there has to be some sort of law enforcement into say, let's say that offense nesi and I'm waking panadia, then the law enforcement also has to deal with it and put things right. Into me engineer sa the fact that obi amweku no and kase also be sa application because you believe say there are compelling and compassionate circumstances and some mama asetna ewo krom ha, and yes na ye ka we are talking about wa we nipa no bibi esi wo bebi a wo free eba no a odwen se se wo san ekọ back a wan kasa no ebia no mweku ana se they will degrade you to torture and put you in circumstances where you can say you will not have your freedom as you would have if you were living in a country where you didn't have that issue. And see, they have to look at it on a case by case basis, specifically at events that may have occurred. A put life and answer will ban a life no in danger, and that is when they will consider it. And see, it's a very very high threshold, and yet simple keke. I would not so I can say oh because of ABA the fact say me sika me de behwe me ho and say the fact say baby a me kono ABA me yare no me high blood pressure into ABA because of me high blood pressure into mean to me san go back to me chrome na me fi no enye eno na ye ka ho asem. This is very degrading treatment, and I say young can say obia or film a onim dia ebesi say okobaka it will make it very very difficult. Into like I've said, no, it's a very very high threshold case, and to all the application no qua you have to include evidence to prove say ampa situation now all come one sem no sa na etie ebia say unim obi a oye to say high profile person ebia betumi aye chief and a chief no so onim dia ekoso ono nso ebia nso wahwehwe baby fufuro na okọ nti ono betumi add swear affidavit ama wo aka say yes this is the situation na ekoso, and I said the same thing American here there are newspaper articles and I say news broadcasting networks that have reported on the issue and they don't see an end in sight because ABI it has been going on for the past 3 years or the past 5 years and it's still ongoing. Into something like this, no, you have news broadcasting agents or articles to verify this. It could also be said when it comes to the fact that ebia wo ba no krampo no na ese obi krampo manu usika saa nipa no nso has been a witness to what has happened into nipa no nso ebetumi aye affidavit actual said this is what has been going on, but as much as possible so to evidence from third parties which are official it's more helpful than just individuals are omo ka say ampa we ye no correct. As long as they see it from official third parties, they know say we there and trobi and a walker no cressa. It is very, very important say ubenya evidence to back up whatever you are saying, and then they can look at it very, very carefully in regards to what circumstances now. And yes, sir, we application, giddy giddy, also, we're sorry, I application based on my compelling and compassionate circumstance. Ebia to you, no, compelling and compassionate, but to abide it is not necessarily compelling and compassionate. And see, say yeah, applications be said, yeah, it is important say ye benya the right advice in order to go ahead with such applications. And see, my major waha na yetumi ebie lines na ma etiefo ne ahwefo.
Enti na kyerɛ sɛ na meka home office deɛ sɛnea tie bia no, they are ready to help you or support you, but then you must be able to provide all evidence yɛbɛtumi egyina so na yɛde ayɛ such application na ehia yɛbɛgyina so na yɛde ayɛ such application. La Eunice yɛbɛda ase ɛnkyɛ bia maybe telephone lines no ɛde atum na yɛnya nkurɔfoɔ dodoɔ ebisabisa ɔmo questions na yɛtumi akɔ yɛnim na yɛtie ne sɛ sɛnea waka ne nyinaa no sisi no wobɛyɛ asylum nsɛmsɛm a wontumi ntwa ntorɔ because sɛnea wokae no sɛ woka sɛ biribi na ɛsi wɔ wo kurom a there should be evidence a ɛkyerɛ sɛ ampa biribi sei ɛsi wɔ kuro no mu a obiara ɛdi ho adanseɛ ɛnyɛ sɛ wobɛfrɛ obi kɛkɛ na ɔde n'ano aba abɛka anaasɛ, but then there should be, like you said, third party no na kyerɛ sɛ other agencies te sɛ news mu ɛwɔ news mu baabiara anaasɛ saa yɛka ne sɛ official department ne nyinaa ɛdi ho adanseɛ sɛ ampa biribi sei ne biribi sei na ɛsi na sɛ just mere sɛ obi bule wɔ kurom nti wo sɛ wokɔ kuro foforɔ so for refugee deɛ a me nua saa mmerɛ no deɛ ɛtwam. There are other ones a menim obi ebisa mebisa ne later. Other ones a menim ɛno nso no menim sɛ ɛno nso bɛfall under compassionate, compelling and compassionate grounds. Menim sɛ bɛfall, but telephone lines a yɛde bɛdi adwuma no ɛyɛ 0208 move on to me 07596620154 ofra yebetumi agye so na ofra no obi wo so ampacho eya na onya abotre kakra ana se obetumi asend WhatsApp message ana se obetumi asend voice message o send voice note e wo WhatsApp call ne so a I can also play for you and no be ye ne ntem ama unlike say obegina ofre na mbia na line because and then line back up and na ye di other ones no fra na amiti we no enti no sa na 075966200154 yo compelling and compassionate circumstances no bi aka ono nso oba ha but oba ye no ano ne deɛ no ɛkɔyɛ saa yɛka ne sɛ LGBT nsɛm yi bi na ɔka sɛ yɛn kurom no saa de no ayɛ nea ɛwɔ hɔ yɛnim sɛ yɛagye ato mu anaasɛ yɛnim sɛ yɛngye nto mu nti no we are not 100% sure na ɛno na ɔka sɛ ɔbaeɛ no ogyina saa deɛ no so ɛna ɔpɛ sɛ ɔmfa nkɔ siki saa asylum anaasɛ article 8 application no mesɛ ɛno no yɛtumi gyina so de yɛ anaa Eunice
Comes to LGBT to say no, it is not
sɛ
accepted.
ɛwɔ
Okay.
yɛn kurom nti no n'ebusuafoɔ apo no sɛ ɔkɔ a ɔmbɛyi n'edi anaasɛ ɔmbɛkunu anaasɛ ɔmbɛyɛ biribi saa na ɔka ɛno nti no waba ha no osuro sɛ ɔbɛkɔ back ɛna ne visa nso akakra sɛ ɔbɛwu nti obɛtumi agyina so de ayɛ such application anaa.
Okay. And see, when it comes to those sort of claims, no, say
Mhm,
we chrome now we free so airba no.
mhm,
Someone into ABI,
mhm,
it is something that people turn a blind eye to, but
mhm,
so then
mhm.
obviously it makes it very difficult to,
Difficult. Okay.
yes, rely on unless you have
Mhm,
evidence say ebia ɛyɛ ade
mhm,
a ɔmo hwehwɛ wo ɔmo pɛ sɛ ɔmo kun anaasɛ ɛyɛ ade a
mhm,
ɔmo hwehwɛ wo na ebia yɛde wo akɔ court anaasɛ ɛyɛ
mhm,
ade a ɔmo hwehwɛ wo na woka sɛ because of their wo femininity wontumi
mhm.
nsan nkɔ back to wo kurom deɛ then of course present those things because
Yeah.
meaning sɛ somewhere like Nigeria dear what is asem way ekohonoma
Omeku.
it is onweku. This is
Mm,
like an abomination to them cry.
mm.
In
Okay.
see Yes, something like that. Definitely, once you present it, you can rely on it because this is something where your life will be at risk. And I
Yes.
say,
Okay.
yeah, ube
Yeah.
fa sa degrading treatment. Yes, ube to me, it's na
Yeah.
sa claim.
Yenyo odofo bi wa homa ne so. Mpacho na ma end 7349. O kasa free mpacho me enti nka ya no apagya o voice kakra de amaye why.
I can separate London.
Okay.
Right, okay. They were a tricky case.
Okay.
It might fall into that compassionate. It was under immigration rules in certain cases for late and 90, it makes it quite tricky.
Okay.
The case now, a bonnet tougher why see highs. Okay, this funny say I know when I'm 2.5 year route or so to 10 years. And say I mean 20 years now, mom is probably like I'm 2.5 years so to 20 years.
Okay.
It's maybe no quarter, right? In this case, no, my work. Ebia many obi awo. Akwa na beda me 2.5 so. Now, say my mini nibia. Normally mother of a British child or say father or parent of a British child. Normally in the other parent and uncle a British citizen and also could indefinite. But look at this case now. Me yama akwa na me bana e better media so. On the make Oba na isi anything.
Okay. Eunice, mpacho many abema question ye. When your private life, your man or 2.5, kwata uguswa na. Ejo akwa ball ashego akola kama free mwaba. Or the need 2.5 need to akola ne so no ma me nso oni hwe no. Eden ne ebe no kwan bi wo ho a kwanya bi wo ho a obetumi egina akola ne so aka se mpa. Opapa ni indefinite. Akola ne so nye British child. Na emom me na me hwe akola me ni papa ne hwe akola ne bom me na me nyinsen wo no. Kwan bi wo ho a metumi egina akola ne so na meguso ahwe me ba ne papa together na.
Okay, and see, yeah, started with discussion. No, make say when it comes to family.
Hold on 1 minute. Ube bisa the question. Pese on fan to so na me mfa before. Ube bisa the question bi ana.
No.
Okay.
I want to say a bit more.
Okay. Inti mema we tie free program ne so inti me de phone okay. To so why?
All right, okay, cool.
Eunice macho koso.
Okay. Inti
koso.
Okay. Inti na me say when we were starting with the education, no, I was saying that when it comes to applications which regard family, private life, or medical grounds, no, it is within our immigration rules. Say if, for instance, when mami bi aweshia oni asetna, when now yama 2.5 based on private life because what's now over 20 years and now 2.5. Oh, your application I'm obanon so 2.5. Mame no any shade because unkita indefinite akola no so enkita indefinite unkita British citizenship. Then mame no be there are immigration rules in regards to family life applications. Yes, omuni indefinite leave to remain, omuni settled status and I say British citizenship. But it's also a discretion that the Home Secretary can use based on the fact say a bear unjustifiably harsh if you can say akolano is free a chrome ha with ne mame. That is under Appendix FM of your immigration rules. That is to say omame no say you can say free chrome ha. It will be unjustifiably harsh for her and akolano to also leave the country because of papa so eti UK chrome ha. But that is only a discretion. Into yeah, might it's if who say it is not something that they would just do because you are going ahead to request for it. But usually if they feel that there are exceptional circumstances there and they think that unjustifiably harsh, then they will go ahead to grant. But where there are no exceptional circumstances there, then patro what's now baby boko will saka indefinite and answer kolan and saka indefinite now our application also yes.
Yo, obeti ase. We your friend sunsun wi ase no. Adom. So lawyers bet me a application I'm all right, but acquire will be discretion into no a honor yen so no yeah yen ni hwe yen to be near ya gidie ye the gidie beta actually na che say ono the discretion ni me gidie na achiata na ayeye enti sa na ye kono e na bibia sunsum wom odofo awa ma so na ma and 2655 ye can legal some na ye can sunsum so de we am ya medium pacho it's not official. Pacho, kasona bisa o question why? Pacho bisa my voice nin koso kakra mae. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Auntie Lawyer Eunice. Good morning.
Ajo so papa.
Pacho, Pacho, my question kakra bi a me pese Lawyer Eunice buame.
Obibia
Pacho,
obaba.
menya me dofo bi wo Ghana me pese me ko ware no.
Okay.
Na aware na me my confused kakra because for the previous years no.
Mhm.
Now me ye ejuma mo bi, now me ye employee.
Okay.
And about 2 months, me I may my self-employed job.
Okay.
Now, what it is, they say, I don't know how I'm going to prove the 29,000 profit, as a self-employed, and because I think I may start a Jumay.
Okay.
Mini accounts, EBA past, but meanwhile, no.
Mhm.
About 2 months ago, now I'm here in India, me war. But you have to prove, say, me qualify 29,000.
Mhm.
At the end, the bachelor say at the end of the tax year, me 29,000. But I can't Eunice be boa me kakra.
And then I'll be betre.
Yes.
Okay. Yo, Auntie Eunice, Pacho, many are bear many question, but they just say from now to 2 months, na trim ni di enka or 29,000 no pay slips near the idea and call the betre me boa.
Me patrol na
Aha,
ano
but
ano
2
no.
months in na wako self-employed, a self-employed and so no. Yes, from
That's a
adwuma na
traffic.
wonya But say oji invoices near the ade there.
Say I feel a master to cry, I feel a
Okay.
me no man kakra.
Okay. La Eunice, we say emre so okofa ne yire na ba. Eden na oso ye. Eden be na oso de kire say obenya 29 na so obenya abro so na ode akofa ne yire na ba.
When it comes to meeting the financial threshold of
Refund.
29,000, they have
Mhm.
specific evidence at almost
Mhm.
Inti, so we are employed that almost employed them kwa. So we are self-employed that almost self-employed. They don't combine the two. Inti,
Mm.
you are either employed or you are either self-employed.
Self-employed.
Yes.
Okay.
Inti, so we are employed that now almost recent 6 months pay slips will
Mm.
letter from a dream and it will recent 6 months bank statements to see say sikana woje from a dream no ekoto bank accounts name. That is
Mm.
for those who are employed. But
Mhm.
say we are self-employed dear, then they expect to see evidence of your self-assessment for the
Mm.
tax year from April to April.
Mm.
Um Usually I know say by January na wa file wo self-assessment. And
Mm.
so you have to file your self-assessment. You have to make sure say the what tax year say what you.
Amemre mo kakra na me kase afei na my application no. Me me self-employed so no 1 month and 1.5 months.
Enti
It
o ka
no
say untumi combine either say obe use with previous 6 months employed there no untumi join untumi mfa ne mienu self-employed and previous employed untumi mfa ne
it
mienu
no.
mbom.
But Matthias, how
Mhm.
do you go about it? Some ma awoyi ba me pese mo ko fa no ban and nay anything. It no minti this me train 6 months na answer na and there's a way around it.
La Eunice. O question there.
And what am I made that see?
Wa ma sere kafra. Eh.
Yeah. It's
But on
when it comes
okay
to
na man to my see but on me gusua me
Matthias
you. I
ye.
Mhm.
me
Matthias
person
ye.
them my
So
way
either
me.
say
Mhm.
go back to employment. Now wait to
Mm.
me wo 6 months pay slip no. Otherwise, so open say, oh, yeah, no, based on your self-employment, they are end their betche.
Also train.
I said, me train 6 months and answer.
I want to buy na one more pillow, sign.
Say me woo.
Ooh, don't run you.
I'm my 6 months in the Aqua, Pacho.
Na emra ne emra we de wa maka me maame tuko no o say the law is the law nti no untumi combine the two no papa untumi combine
And the ultimate Jumana, call yourself a plank of fire, my dear Yasimo.
sa no mo na na Eunice me bisa what about savings in so untumi mfa nka ho
Have 16,000 plus the amount that
mhm
the 2.5 years will cover. And so you are
mhm
looking at about 25 to 30,000 pounds in savings.
enti so wo bi dia obetumi aye
And so what's our savings in the end they'll be to me savings in Kwan.
Now, my way, the man can read savings, never in account.
yo
You
ko bank na ko bobusia se open no Christmas dey akobo busia o dey tumu wie a no why is can ko
Pacho said nature say me san come adwuma no kra so mo san fa me po match o kra na na is break aba 6 months in mu no it is not nye possible
For the next 6 months.
and some my any attempt to kra
sa nete
oh any obeka Ghana na mapa bia ware wa ya
men kanisa 6 months dey enche ba why yenko yenim enkrofo gina line so why yeah bye bye yeah, no, yeah, humiti, but the law is the law. I'm quoting from my mom. The law is the law. And no, ain't no. Sanet it's your funny asha for you go so ewa ha utie ya fe no adwan your BWF Solicitors legal hours so near one ya can things about you can say compassionate, compelling and compassionate grounds. I'll bet me they solely to apply on your why so can I say yeah obi jina o mane so do for mpacha o say free my ente nka
good morning man
good morning adomo nko ani ahwe ye won so
you made out ma you
mhm
Master say madam Fubi na o say o de say bi buy na oba na jam
mhm
jam woman o say 2 months say
onko
one you know and what you know pay lawyer no after 6 months man and what you when you oba obetumi aware
on to be worry ne say ye ja no dia na ya man 6 man no enyo oba afofra aware de bibia nsi aware ho kwan yo na ngina so na e wo ho no nti lo Eunice ne question a
Yeah.
obi sa ni me de maka ma adwen won so lo unkamra no enka homa no
And so Bana we share no okita and krata bang.
oh kroma krata
also
Okay.
okromu akrata
Okay. In regards to Obana we share no dear. So opeso jina Obano so edijin krata wo from hadia. Want to make say a boyfriend girlfriend relationship and to jina so edi nyan krata. Either say wait to me akyerɛ sɛ waware nipa yi anaasɛ wo ne nipa yi atena a wobɛtumi akyerɛ sɛ mo relationship atim ɛda so ɛrekɔ so nti sɛ ɔbaa no pɛ ne so sɛ oh bɛrima wei a mehyia ɔyɛ kama ɛnyɛ obi a I don't think sɛ ɔbɛma me nsɛm biara nti mɛware saa bɛrima yi ɔmo bɛtumi aware sɛ ɔmo ware a ɛndeɛ na woegyina no so. But the caveat and I say issue ne ye say ujina aware no so a omo baby sa wo mbrenim say bibi e wo ho a na say insensanso bi poten bi e wo ho a untumi nsan call back to wo chrome enko ya application no free chrome ember say insensanso bi e wo ho dia na wa ma mo ehu but into sa dia wo make sure say call chrome na call ya application e bra.
hey
The
crofo
only way I over to me, I can say,
avoid it
say ebia wo ne oba no mo oba anasa oba no woda eba deda but wo boa oba no ama na hwe ne ba no nti because wo boa na ama na hwe ne ba no mo ya wawerfo a akola no nso abeye wo so wo ba no because of enunti untumi ensa nko okrom enko ya application number because wo boa no ama na hwe akola no nti wugina ono ene akola no so e de aye application no pacha what you say.
What in Chechemu no?
Matthias, na 6 months, no.
Mhm.
Home office for MFBB, I'm running, say, Matthias, and Montias for 6 months.
Now, 6 months ne wɔ he then?
I said, no, I can watch Mamma Matty.
Eunice, is it possible, sir? Or see, mommy.
Usually, omo be bro letter na
Mhm.
email to say omo ma wa sitting away ebia as a concession.
Mhm.
After this concession, no, say at least wutumiya asitina out
Mhm.
date na kroma. To say domestic violence, say omo ma 3 months concession.
Mhm.
Whilst omo ma 3 months concession, no, now with their yes, domestic violence application no na with that no oma ma wasetena no say after the when you ball because of domestic violence application now the two mu no that day to me ama ball into patcho find it out because mentias
Bisa lawyer no why? Because say home office emfa na no enka bibi abra oni o so age atom. Bibi a omo tro. Enti say lawyer ni say o ka ne keka. Bisa lawyer ni say evidence letter email ben na home office can say wa me 6 months. Why? Yo na etre no wa ko hu lawyers no. Why?
You, Midasma.
Yenso ye dase papa. Yenso ye dase. Baba ya no a share program na ma me why?
You,
Okay. Yo, it's here for Nasha for Yegusu ye ewa ha. We are talking about can you say your legal hours so with BWF Solicitors. Do don't maba so nyina. Meninchia kese Seri Fraser Meninchia kese Eddie Mao. Good morning all. Warm welcome to our program. We are thrilled you are here. If you find our content helpful, please don't hesitate to share it with your other network. Why are there sir nyame nhyira wo na mo amaba so no me se papa bi edwa pa sa papa no de bia oba so no edwa but ne it is what it is untumi nya ne hwe yenko so telephone line na yedidi dwuma ne 075966201154 ana obetumi afre na ye bisa o enche bia mema lawyer ani akofie so a aba mu na ono nso be cheche the English aspect of the topic now we treat and then on bonitia or brofumo senior bear we can share with other neighboring countries. We were talking about when is it possible to apply solely on my human rights if I have compelling and compassionate circumstances. Inti ya cheche mu sa circumstances na ebeye compelling and compassion. Ya church lawyer Eunice abubo boni nyina so say afi na wadwe na person who are you can always play back to see what was discussed earlier on. Now wait to me so atwanamo. Embia na ne ebubo so no enka wo de ho no so nkyere say ontumi nye but modern whatever you can say circumstances a woman I feel say it should be compassionate enough or it should be compelling enough no but modern lawyers no if they can use that to do this kind of application edbema who knows uni ne besi enti na obi kan ne dia lawyer Eunice can say eno no ebeye discretional no nso no unim embia na case worker na ebekọ akoto na enim no we who know say oh even though it's discretional memfa mano ana because discretion na say ejina case worker na oye case no ejina ne so eno ahwe say akwai na asem we me hu ne mobo ana memfa ma na ma memfa ma no nti ho na me nso bibe mu say ya na odi sunsun kakra de aka odofo wa ahoma so patro yeti oni me last caller na afi de lawyer Eunice lawyer Annie Abem patro me yenti o why.
Hello, Manya, good morning.
Good morning papa.
William Pacho, William, any question, yeah, then run on me, number, yeah, me continue to the same number, like me, personal number, maybe
Normal way we are no afresh. Why?
Pacho, better.
After the program. after the
Back to
program.
you.
Yo.
Back to you.
Okay.
That's
Yo, Miss Medase. Yeah, say yeah, we are different. Okay, into me invite yeah, mommy and sister Penny, lawyer Annie Akufie Soa. Na ono nso for the English aspect of it now. Summary and from good morning, lawyer Annie.
Good morning, and good morning to all our viewers and listeners, and happy Friday to you all. So, the topic for today was, when is it possible to apply solely on my human rights if I have compelling and compassionate circumstances? So, we looked at the European Convention on Human Rights, 1998, and we specifically, first of all, looked at Article 3, which says that no one should be subjected to torture or to inhumane or degrading treatment or punishment. And this is an absolute right, as Lawyer Eunice said, which means that the countries cannot create laws to which would be contrary to that article and what it says. Then we also look at Article 8 of the European Convention on Human Rights, which says that everyone has the right to respect for private and family life, his home and correspondence, and this is a limited right, because if you look at the article, it says that yeah, people do have this right, but in certain circumstances, if it's for the sake of national security or public safety or the economic well-being of the country, this right can be limited. But it's important to note that when it comes to Article 3, it's an absolute right which cannot be limited under no circumstance, which means that people shouldn't be subjected to torture at all or inhumane treatment. So, in certain circumstances, an applicant can submit an application based on compelling and compassionate circumstances. So, this type of application is completely different than an application based on private life, family life, or exceptional circumstances based on medical grounds, for example. So, if an applicant believes that they have compassionate and compelling circumstances, then they can go online onto the gov.uk website and they can fill out a form known as FLRHRO. So, this is an application which is, of course, outside of the immigration rules, and it is specifically where an applicant has compelling and compassionate circumstances. So when it comes to this type of application, the caseworker, of course, would consider the application and they would ask themselves whether there are any exceptional circumstances which would render a refusal of the application a breach of the Article 8 rights, for example, of the European Convention on Human Rights. We also looked today at the guidance, which was updated on the 5th of August 2025. The title of the guidance is Leave Outside of the Rules on Compelling Compassionate Grounds. And if you look at the guidance, you will see that caseworkers, when they're dealing with a case such as this, they have to deal with it on a case by case basis. So they have to consider whether, if they refuse the application, it would result in the applicant's Article 8 rights, for example, being breached. So, in terms of evidence, if you think that you have a case, a strong case, and let's say you are a homosexual and you might be returned to your home country, which might be Nigeria or any other country which doesn't condone that type of behavior at all. If you have evidence, of course, that would help your application a lot. So if you have received any threatening messages, whether that's via email or WhatsApp or Facebook, any type of evidence that you have, you can rely on that. Or even if it's a hot topic in that country, let's say it's being spoken about at news stations or it's in news articles, you can rely on all of that in support of your application to show that if you were required to leave the UK and go back to your home country, you might be subject to torture, because of course that is a compelling and compassionate circumstance. Or even if you're able to get an affidavit from a chief in that country or a family member or friend, all of that would support your case immensely. Or even if you have a child in the UK Under the Section 55 of the Borders, Citizenship and Immigration Act 2009, the Home Office, they are required to look at the interest of children, and they have to make decisions in the child's best interest. So if your child would be required to go to that country with you, and the child too would be subject to inhumane treatment, it is likely that the Home Office, because of the child who is involved in your life, the application may be successful, as in that you should remain here in the UK. But it's a very high threshold to meet. So if you do believe that you have compelling and compassionate circumstances, I would advise that you seek a solicitor or a qualified person who can help you, because this type of application is completely different in comparison to applications based on family life or private life. The threshold is very high, and there's a lot of evidence that has to go with this type of application for it to be successful. So if you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us, and we'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lawyer Annie. And also the Nidia no abekano. Say obi ja message baako wa ha membo ansana wabebo me na Lawyer Eunice enchichi mu mayen kakra.
Good morning, Manya. Pacho, my question kakra hope some here. My Pacho, my question is say, I'm person finding out say COS for caterers, if it's still going on, and I say has been cancelled like the carers there now. Why Pacho, may a caterer and my person may find out so if I can bring somebody on COS. Thank you.
Lawyer Eunice, caterers dey no so ya cancel na.
So when it comes to, I'll put it in the category of chefs and those in the eatery business, shall I say. And see, when it comes to businesses, not just an individual saying, say, oh, my chef. When it comes to businesses that are, for instance, eateries, or they deal with food, say, oh, ka say, ebia we jumana o no, ube here nkorɔfoɔ under specific occupation codes to come in as chefs and as let's say sous chef and all those categories of chefs that they have, then you have to provide evidence to the Home Office. Say, this is your business, this is your accounts for the year, this are the people you employ, this is the turnover that you have, and you are looking to recruit from outside of the UK for people to come and work within your business. If that is the case, now to me are providing some information where I'm on, then the government will look into giving you a sponsor license. To me a COS amount for. But it is only when you have applied for a sponsor license that you would have the right to issue COS to international workers. If you are here as a caterer, now I will say, oh, for dear, then unfortunately, that's not how it works. Yeah, my own license, and I
You
am
have to,
yeah, my
yeah.
own right to apply for COS for anybody. And see, you will have to seek legal advice if you're a business and you believe that you can bring chefs into the country that will also benefit. Yeah.
Okay. Say baako nso wa ha na nka me de ba ochna but membo ne preko.
Good morning, Manya T, Manya Nati. Good morning, Auntie Eunice, Lawyer Eunice. Pacho mo question kakra bia me pesen ka Lawyer Eunice bo ame. Me pacho me question is if I say me ko ware wo Ghana na before no na me ye adwuma
Say ono na odi ofre ye no nti no we've answered that already. Yo Lioness e beda si ye na say mre na ye be nti no ye be sorry ye na so na akọ ene a ye be koi e dey important na odi be ja ye na ye dey ahye kutoku mo until we meet again next week.
And see, say I can't your topic now you treat it, and then obviously it's a niche area, and I hope that not many people will fall foul of the law without seeking legal advice. But you can't immigration in some dear a whole drop a bray why you do adwuma. Say yeah, immigration yeah, family child arrangement orders, divorces, any other family cases. Yeah, wills need probate and so and I sound so dealing with civil litigation issues. So should share your kwan your details was screen or so. Ube to me about your offices was 7 sisters and I said move to me afrayan 0208 493 7340. You bet me anywhere edi nkita ho wo phone so. Nti yeah general ha nyame eya adom a nyame ebeye ya adom nim sa dasenda ya be sanso ehia biom.
Yo, mama, yensu yeda se etiefo na ahwefo ha na emre be ma ye be na ye de adwumedie no abewie ye mediane manye ti usha baby na ofrem na manye ti ameje so next week same time e ba ha na ye be stress a weekend school for a start enti no holiday period no e kosama ne nyina akosisi a yira autumn na nyoma o se ye na ye nkonim do na university for e ba be call just say all schools obia eba beko this week and I say next week nti no yenhwe ehu yie na yenya ahwe yie bebi a yewo bia no yemfa eyie ntu yie na yenko yenim me damase say metie no mahwe monko so an share the program no and share na yenso yenko yenim nyame nka ye ho next week same time we'll be here. God bless you all. Bye bye.
Based in London, we are a dynamic award-winning firm specialising in a range of legal services. Welcome to BWF Solicitors, a trusted and experienced law firm specialising in immigration and nationality, appeals and judicial review, dispute resolution, family and matrimonial, and other family law disputes with international context. These include matters such as private child arrangement orders, contested and uncontested divorce, non-molestation for domestic violence, and financial remedy. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you at such a difficult time. Our advice is delivered in a confidential and sensitive manner. Meet Bernard Owusu, our esteemed senior partner. With over 32 years of experience and known for his expertise and dedication to serving our clients and the community. BWF Solicitors stands for integrity, respect, excellence, teamwork, diversity, inclusion, and service to the community. We provide tailored assistance specific to your case. At BWF Solicitors, every day is filled with dedication, creativity, and a commitment to finding the best solutions for our clients. Our team at BWF Solicitors is ready to assist you with all your legal needs. You can find us at the 4th floor, Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road, Seven Sisters, London, N15 4NP. Our main office line is 0208 493 7340, or our emergency line is 07712 761 884.